So, point of view. The concept of point of view is a pretty basic one to art and storytelling. It can be applied to life in general or to visual works of art like painting and movies. But I'm going to talk about it in terms of storytelling or narrative. So, narrative point of view. Narrative point of view is the perspective from which a story is told. To understand and talk about point of view, it's important to pay attention to a couple of different things. The first is the grammatical person, this category of pronouns. And the second is the level of insight that the narrator has. Grammatically speaking, person refers to the pronouns we use. Are we telling a story about ourselves or someone else? When a story uses the word I and me, it's being told in the first person. This is how we tell our own anecdotes from our lives, so it's natural to tell stories this way. A much stranger way to tell stories, and not often used, would be not to say what I am doing, but what you are doing. You go to the store and think to yourself, should I buy eggs? This is called second person. A much more common way to tell stories is to talk about other people, he, she, they, etc. Again, this seems natural to us because this is how we would tell true stories about people other than ourselves. This perspective is called third person. So first, second, third person, that's the first category. The second thing we need to be aware of when noticing or talking about point of view is the level of insight the narrator has into the inner workings of the character's mind. How much does the character know? Or does the narrator know, rather? If the narrator can't see or hear the thoughts or feelings of characters, we would call that an objective point of view. The narrator simply sees and hears everything much like a video camera does. Objective point of view. This can be placed at one end of a spectrum, where at the other end we have not a narrator, not like a camera, but more like some kind of God looking down at the whole world of the story. This kind of narrator knows everything and can tell the reader whatever they want. This is called an omniscient point of view. This is common, of course, because the writer usually is kind of in this position. They know everything that's going on because they invented it. It's their imagination. So they do kind of have this, point of view where they look over everything. And if they want to tell us what one person thinks, they can. And if they want to tell us what a dog thinks or a plant thinks, that's completely up to them. Somewhere in the middle of this spectrum, between objectivity on one side and omniscience on the other side, there's an important perspective, and this is one in which the narrator knows the thoughts of just one character, the protagonist most likely. The narrator, we hear their thoughts and feelings of the protagonist, but for everyone else in the story, we can only guess what they're thinking based on what they do and say. This would be called the limited omniscient perspective. All three of these are kinds of third person, and you can see that there's a big similarity between first person and limited omniscient because, of course, we only know what one person thinks in first person as well.